Okay, adding and subtracting rational expressions. Another fun fact, when howling together, no two wolves will howl on the same note. Instead, they harmonize to create the illusion that there are more than there actually are. That's actually super cool. Dogs are way smart. Did you know dogs share all of their DNA with wolves? So your dog, like my poodle that I have, I mean, he's a golden doodle, but he's a poodle, is essentially a descendant from a wolf, which is crazy because like he wouldn't survive a second in the wilderness. But cool stuff. So when you have a common denominator, so when you're adding fractions and you had a common denominator, you can just add across the top, right? Because this is like you have 2 sevenths plus 3 sevenths. Well, that just equals 5 sevenths. Same thing, like if you had 13a over 4a squared, so that's 13a of 4a squareds, like pieces, I guess, and then 5a over 4a squared. Well, we can just combine like terms, and so that becomes 18a over 4a squared. But we want to simplify that fraction. So to do that, just basically what we were doing last video. So 2 goes into 18 9 times, 2 goes into 4 twice, and then, oh shoot, that should have just been an a. That's my bad. That 2 should not be there. This a cancels that a, so you're left with 9 over 2a. Okay. Here, again, we have a common denominator, so we can just combine like terms. So you get y squared plus 10y plus 21 over y squared minus 9. And now this is the same as what we were doing when we were simplifying fractions. So we just have to simplify this, or simplifying rational expressions. So we want to see what multiplies to be 21, adds to be 10. Well, it's 3 and 10. Oh, it's not. 3 and 7. What is with all these typos? Jeez Louise. Okay, we're just going to go back for a second. Okay, this is 3 and 7. So this becomes y plus 3 and y plus 7. This right here is the difference of squares. So that's where you can do, so y squared minus 9. Well, I can bring this down. I'm just ignoring the subtraction, and I'm going to square root both of these. Square root of y squared is y. Square root of 9 is 3. So this is going to be y plus 3 and y minus 3. Okay. And then we can see here that these y's plus 3's are going to cancel. So I'm just left with y plus 7 over y minus 3. Okay. Ignore all this stuff. Okay. Subtracting with a common denominator. So whenever you subtract, this is where you want to use the distributive property. So like if you look over here, this is the distributive property. So we're saying if we have ice cream on the outside and we distribute it in to the people on the inside, let's call him Bob and let's call him Dylan. Bob Dylan. So this would be like Bob gets ice cream and Dylan also gets ice cream. Okay. So if we have this, and there's that subtraction sign, we have to distribute the subtraction sign. So that becomes a plus negative 7x minus 2. And then we can just combine like terms. So that'll be 2x plus 10 over 16. And we want to reduce this. And notice how 2 goes into everything that's right there. So this can be divided by 2, and I'm left with an x. This divided by 2, I'm left with a 5. This divided by 2, I'm left with an 8. So I'm left with x plus 5 over 8. Okay, let's do this one. So again, I can start by distributing that, and I get negative n minus 1. And then we can combine like terms because we have a common denominator here. So that's going to be n squared plus 2n minus 8 over n squared plus n minus 6. And then always try to factor it. So let's see what multiplies to be negative 8, adds to be 2. Well, that's 4 and negative 2. This one we're going to see add or multiplies to be negative 6, adds to be 1. Well, that's 3 and negative 2. And then those n minus 2's cancel, so I'm left with n plus 4 over n plus 3. Okay. All right, now let's get into the uncommon denominators. I don't know if that's like, would it be like not common denominators or I don't know. But, so adding fractions, 1/2 plus 1/3 does not equal 2/5. It equals 5/6 because you have to get a common denominator there, okay? So if we had like 2/3 plus 1/7, well, I need to get a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply that first one by 7, and I'm going to multiply the second one by 3. So I get 14/21 plus 3/21, which equals 17/21. Okay, so if we have something that looks more like this, well, we're going to do exactly what we did on that other one. I'm going to multiply that n minus 5 to the first fraction, and I'm going to multiply the n minus 2 to the second fraction. Now, when I do that, I'm going to have n minus 5 times 5n, and then 3 times n minus 1. And then on the bottom, just leave them factored. So it's n minus 5 and n minus 2. On the top, you actually have to multiply it out, though. So I'm going to multiply this in to both of these, and I get 5n squared minus 25n. Multiply these in, and I get 3n minus 6. Not 3n squared, just 3n minus 6. Then we can combine like terms because we have a common denominator now. So that's going to be 5n squared minus 22n minus 6 over n minus 5 and n minus 2. We can try to factor that. So if we multiply that, you'd get negative 30 and negative 22. There's nothing that's going to multiply to be negative 30 and add to be negative 22. So that is your final answer. Okay, let's do this one. So this one, there's a subtraction sign there. So we want to distribute that first. So I get 4 over n minus 2 plus negative 5 over n plus 3. Then I need to get a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply n plus 3 to the top, or the first one, and n minus 2 to the second one. So here I'm left with 4 times n plus 3 over n plus 3 and n minus 2. And then on the second one, I'm left with negative 5 times n minus 2 times n plus 3 times n minus 2. So that's 4n plus 12 over n plus 3 and n minus 2. And that's negative 5n plus 10 over n plus 3 and n minus 2. Can combine terms there, and I get negative n plus 22 over n plus 3 n minus 2. And there's nothing we can do to that, so you just leave it. Okay. Let's do this one. So again, there's no subtraction, so I'm just going to start by getting a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply r plus 2 to the first one and r minus 5 to the second one. So I have r plus 2 times 4r plus 1 over r plus 2 and r minus 5 plus 2 times r minus 5 over r plus 2 times r minus 5. Well, this part right here, we need to use the box. Sorry, you can't see where I'm clicking or pointing. Right there, we have to use the box. And when we do that, you end up getting r squared plus 9r plus 2. Or you could use distribution to do that. And then the 2 times r minus 5 is 2r minus 10. Combine like terms, so you get r squared minus, or plus 11r minus 8. We can try and factor that, see what multiplies to be negative 32, adds to be 11. There's nothing that can, so then this is our final answer there. Okay, and that is it. We're finished. Okay, bye.